Which 300 to 400cc motorcycle can strike the perfect balance between good value for money, exciting enough to ride over a long time, and looks to match their gorgeous liter bike versions? Let's compare in detail the top 7 motorcycles in the naked motorcycle segment. First thing anybody's gonna notice are the looks, so let's start with that. To me, the Husqvarna Svartpilen 401 is the coolest one for its neo-retro cafe racer style looks. The Vitpilen 401 is a close second only because of the white color and regular street tires. The Honda CB300R is third in my opinion. I do like the Yamaha MT-03 as well for its Transformers look. There's also something outstanding about the KTM Duke 390. The styling, the headlight, the bright orange steel trellised frame. The Kawasaki and the BMW would share the last part because they look the closest to typical commuter bikes, but in the flesh you can tell that they look almost as big as their older brothers. And I totally understand that you may have a different opinion on the looks, so please rank them in the comments below. And while you're doing that, please take a listen to what these bikes sound like as they come from the factory, as well as what they could sound like if you ever chose to upgrade to an aftermarket exhaust. Now that you have judged a motorcycle beauty pageant and a motorhead music concert, let's focus on the practical stuff. Let's get the weight out of the way first. The 2022 Honda CB300R is the lightest and the MT-03 is the heaviest on paper. But over the last 14 years, I have ridden motorcycles that are heavier as well as lighter than these, and I can tell you that none of these would ever feel overwhelming because of weight. So the more important thing to consider would actually be the seat height. The Huskies and the Duke 390s are the tallest, but they would work just fine for anyone who's 5'6" to 5'8" and above. The Z400, MT-03 and BMW G310R have a surprisingly low seat height. The Honda CB300R slots somewhere in the middle. For beginner riders, I would recommend getting a motorcycle that you can flat foot or as close to that as possible for better confidence. But if you have spent some time riding a smaller bike already, you should not limit yourself with the flat foot requirement and open up your horizons a little bit. Ground clearance on all of these bikes is fairly comparable except the BMW G310R, which has the highest clearance and would be the easiest to take over speed bumps without scraping the underbelly. And talking of ease, let's compare suspension setup that influences ease of riding in everyday scenarios. The MT-03 gets the thinnest 37mm forks by KYB, but they're upside down to improve handling. Kawasaki Z400 is the only one rocking conventional 41mm telescopic forks, but the setup is great for street and is considered to be pretty good even for some canyon carving. The BMW G310R also has KYB USD forks like the MT-03, but the fork tubes are thicker at 41mm and the suspension can travel a bit more as well. Honda has slapped a set of more sophisticated 41mm separate function big piston forks by Showa on the CB300R. They're the same ones they've got on the CBR 500R. They look gorgeous and work perfectly even though they're not adjustable. The KTM Duke 390 has the thickest 43mm USD forks by WP Apex, which are more than capable for street use. Their cousins, the Husqvarna Svartpilen 401 and Vitpilen 401, took it a notch further and have fully adjustable versions of those with very convenient adjuster knobs so you don't require tools should you need to adjust them. The rear suspension on all these bikes has preload adjustability, so you could adjust it as per your weight or when you're carrying some luggage or ride 2 up. As far as comfort is concerned, all these suspension configurations will give you a comfortable street riding experience. The difference would be in their ability to handle different types of riding conditions and different riding styles, which I will talk about at the end of the video when we summarize what type of rider would each of these bikes work the best for. And to understand that aspect, it's important to take a look at the engine specifications and the performance you can expect from each of these bikes. On paper, the Honda CB300R's 286cc single-cylinder engine is the least powerful at 31 horsepower and 20 foot-pounds of torque. But the power-to-weight ratio is actually higher than the BMW G310R that has a 313cc single-cylinder engine that makes 34 horsepower. The MTO3 goes quite a few notches above and makes 41 horsepower and almost 22 foot-pounds of torque. Despite weighing 56 pounds or 25 kilos more than the Honda, it stacks up a better power-to-weight ratio, resulting in higher acceleration and top speed. The 2022 KTM Duke 390 uses the same 373cc single-cylinder engine that's on the Swartpillen and Wittpillen 401 and makes 44 horsepower and 27.3 foot-pounds of torque, a performance figure very similar to the Kawasaki Z400 rocking a 399cc twin-cylinder engine. That's where I get into how good the braking systems are. A modern motorcycle braking system has several components, but let's focus on the ones that are more commonly compared. The size and design of the brake rotors or discs influences how effective the braking would be. Two discs are better than one, bigger rotors are better than smaller. Pedal discs dissipate heat better than conventional ones. Similarly, two pistons pushing the brake pad to grab the rotor is better than one piston trying to do it. Four pistons is obviously better than two. How the caliper is mounted to the fork can also be different. Radially mounted is better than conventionally mounted because it doesn't tend to be affected by the twisting force that impacts the effectiveness of the conventional ones. And of course, ABS would save the wheel from locking up and skidding when you grab a handful of brake in a panic situation or when the traction or grip on the road is low because it rained. Cornering ABS just means that the system is using an IMU to adjust the ABS input as per your lean angle for safer and more effective braking. With all that cleared, let's compare the brakes and keep in mind lower the power and acceleration, lower the need for more sophisticated brakes. So one would imagine the BMW needs the cheapest brakes. Well, BMW didn't think so. The G310R has a 300mm single disc in front and a radially mounted 4-piston caliper made by Vibray. In contrast, a 41 horsepower MTO3 only gets a 298 single disc with 2-piston calipers. CB300R gets a pedal type and 4-piston radially mounted caliper by Nissan. Z400 has a pedal type disc and the 2-piston Nissan calipers are mounted conventionally. The Duke 390 and the Husqvarnas have the same brakes. Conventional but much larger 320mm front disc, 4-piston radially mounted caliper by Vibray. All bikes have single piston calipers in the rear. KTM and Husqvarnas had 10mm bigger discs than the rest, and BMW has the biggest rear disc. Having compared those brake specs, I do want to call out two things. One, for street riding, all these brakes are perfectly fine. All these motorcycles have ABS. When it comes to tires, I'm not a fan of the Dunlops on the Z400, especially if canyon carving is on the cards, though I don't expect them to be bad for everyday street riding. The Michelins on the CB300R and the G310R strike a very good balance between grip and durability, unlike the Metzellers on the Duke 390 and the Wittpillen 401 that have great grip but wear out much faster. The Pirellis on the Swartpillen 401s look pretty badass and complete its look, but don't be deceived by the knobby tires. They're just different looking street tires, not off-road ones. Another downside with the 2022 Swartpillen and Wittpillen 401s is that for those cool looking spoked wheels, Husqvarna decided to go with tube type tires. So a flat tire would need a tube patch up until you can get back on the road, and that's something most people cannot manage on their own. So if you're looking at the Husqvarnas, consider a tubeless tire conversion for peace of mind. And when it comes to rider aids, let's start with the dash. The Husqvarna's dash has sufficient information for street use, but the angle and the font style makes them the hardest to see. The MTO3 gets a reasonably sized, clear and concise LCD dash with speed, revs, engine temperature, time, odometer, gear position and low fuel indicators. The CB300R gives you similar information but in an inversely lit LCD dash that looks a lot cooler. The BMW G310R dash doesn't look as cool but gives you relevant information. It also shows you distance to empty, which is pretty useful. Z400 gets a hybrid looking dash with revs up top, a gear position position indicator, fuel gauge, engine temperature, speed, trip meter, time, and an economical riding indicator that shows in real time if you're getting good gas mileage. The Duke 390 gets the fanciest multicolor full TFT dash that shows you all that information and a lot more. And that's why the KTM has a fancy switchgear on the left handlebar to toggle through the menus. The dash can also adapt its color to an inverse display for better visibility at night. All bikes have LED headlights and turn signals. Kawasaki has dual projector LEDs. But when it comes to rider aids, the MTO3 is the simplest with only ABS that comes standard, but it doesn't get an assist slipper clutch like the rest of them do. An assist slipper clutch ensures that the clutch pulls are light, and if you downshift a little aggressively, the wheel won't lock up or hop. I have ridden motorcycles for the first 9 years without an assist slipper clutch, and I did just fine for street riding. I only find it useful on my ZX6R when I'm at the track and I'm aggressively downshifting going into a turn. So if you really like the MTO3, that shouldn't be a showstopper. The G310R gets ride-by-wire, adjustable brake and clutch levers, and an optional USB charger and heated grips. Honda and Kawasaki get the same rider aids, except the Honda's ABS is fancier. Duke 390 is the fanciest and uses the ride-by-wire to enable riding modes and an optional quick shifter for both up and down shifts without pulling in the clutch. A super moto mode, which means that you can switch off the ABS in the rear wheel to let you slide it and have at it with your stunts, which makes me jealous because my 2019 ZX6R or even the 22 model ZX6R doesn't have ride-by-wire. Talking of money, it's time for the most asked questions when you're buying a motorcycle in India. What is the fuel efficiency like? The Z400 has the lowest 52 miles per gallon fuel mileage and would go about 190 miles or 310 kilometers before it runs dry. The MTO3, which is the only other twin-cylinder bike in this comparison, has marginally better fuel efficiency but the same tank size and could take you to about 207 miles or 330 kilometers. The BMW has a smaller tank but a higher fuel efficiency would give it a 174 miles or 280 kilometers range. The Duke 390, despite making the most power thanks to a single-cylinder engine and low weight, claims a decent 65 miles per gallon or 28 kilometers per liter. The Huskies have similar fuel efficiency, but the much smaller 9.5 liter or 2.5 US gallon tanks make them better suited for short street ride and can only take you about 160 miles or 260 kilometers. And this is where CB300R's smallest engine size, a single cylinder, and low weight become an advantage. A 70 miles per gallon or 30 kilometers per liter fuel efficiency, which means the 2.7 gallon or 10 liter tank could take you 184 miles or 300 kilometers before it's empty. And remember, these figures are based on claims by manufacturers, users, and websites like fuely.com and would vary based on rider weight, riding conditions, and riding style. Plus, you need to start looking for a fuel station much before the tank does run dry. And the cost of making these bikes go the distance is the perfect segue to talk about the prices and availability of all of these motorcycles in US, UK, Australia, and India, where most of my videos are watched. The Duke 390 is available in metallic silver and ceramic white options across US, UK, India, and Australia, and many other countries. It is priced slightly higher than the rest, but the additional rider aids, performance, and popularity seems to justify the price. The Honda CB300R and the BMW G310R are also available in all four countries. MTO3, Husqvarna, Svartpillen, and Vitpillen 401 are available in the US, UK, and Australia. The Huskies are expected to launch in India towards the later half of 2022. The Z400 is available only in the US and Australia thanks to the emission norms in Europe and India that it doesn't seem to meet. And if you're wondering which motorcycle is the best for you, I would say get the Duke 390 if you can handle a little bit of a peppy, excited character. It is going to keep you excited over a long time. The Z400 would be the closest to mid-segment motorcycles in terms of its riding characteristics. Best part is that even if you are a beginner, it won't catch you off guard as long as you have the patience to grow into it. This would also be a motorcycle that one could ride long term. And I could say that about the Duke 390 and the Husqvarnas as well. The MTO3 is for Yamaha lovers, especially if you love the R3 but find it a bit aggressive for everyday riding. The engine is more powerful than the Honda but equally reliable. The ride is comfortable and a lot of people dig the Transformer's headlight. Again, the power output is gonna keep you happy for a while. The Honda CB300R could be called a great bike for beginners in the US and a good upgrade for places where people typically start on smaller bikes. I can vote for the Hondas for the reliability and low cost of maintenance, having ridden them for over 6 years with zero issues. You could, however, start feeling the need for more power over a period of time time, which is what I would say about the BMW as well. Although it would attract more people who value the BMW premium image and appreciate the premium fit and finish and its mini S1000R looks. If I had to pick one for myself, I would get the Swart Pillin 401 in a heartbeat and get a tubeless tire conversion. And if you have already got some bit of riding experience and can push your budget a little more, watch this video I made comparing middleweight naked bikes and get a view of what your future motorcycle could look like. In the next video, I'm going to compare fully fared 300 to 400cc motorcycles. Consider subscribing if you want to watch that video. This is Faraz, helping the rider community one video at a time.